Thank you for going through this entire series, Short Game Training in Table Tennis. Today, I want to give you 10 kind of closing comments or final reminders about the short game. The first one is, when you're actually practicing short push, make sure that you're actually doing it against actual short balls. A lot of times what you'll find is that if you learn to measure, a lot of these balls are actually deep enough that you could actually be looping. So really focus on being able to see, where did the ball actually bounce, as opposed to where did I think that the ball might possibly maybe bounce. A number of years ago, I actually did a training camp on short game training in table tennis. And I allowed one player, he was more beginner intermediate level, I allowed him to join our group. He didn't grasp the concept of what it actually takes to be able to identify the depth and to be able to catch the right timing and push short. So I saw him about 12 months after the training camp, and he said, "Samson, I want you to check out my short game." And he was literally practicing a short game from back here. He's like, "Aren't my pushes and flips good?" And it's like, you didn't grasp the concept. So what's important is to be able to actually say, this is the long game, this is the half long game, and this is the short game. So make sure that you're actually practicing your short push against serves or pushes that are really short. What you'll probably find is that as you learn to measure better, a lot of those balls that you thought were short are actually half long. Point number two, reminder number two, is that when you're pushing long, you really want to have a compact backswing and approach the ball in the same way that you did on the short push. When you're pushing long, it's most effective wide angles and particularly off the backhand side. Why is it that deep pushes to the backhand typically work better than deep pushes to the forehand? Because the hitting zone is smaller. It's not as deep, it's not as wide, it's not as tall. With the forehand, you've got all this space. So even if you surprise the opponent to the forehand, he can be like, "Oh, I got surprised," and still have time to loop. So when you're going to push deep, wide is good, especially wide to the backhand. The third thing is, make sure that you disguise the timing. As I mentioned, you want to have a very similar backswing on both short and long push. No matter how spinny your push is, no matter how fast it is, if they can see it coming a mile away because you took this massive backswing, it's not going to be nearly as effective as if you take a compact backswing. Act like you're pushing short, and then at the last second, you change for pushing long. The fourth thing, and this is important, is to be able to push right off the bounce, but also to be able to push late timing. See, most people practice right off the bounce, right off the bounce, right off the bounce, and then they get into tournaments and they're guarding the deep ones and they lose the timing, and so they feel bad, like, "Oh, I lost the timing," so then they push top of the bounce. This is the worst place to play like a short push. If you push from the top of the bounce, inevitably your push is going to be too high. So you want to play right off the bounce, but if you lose the early timing, don't play from the top of the bounce. Let the ball drop and then push. This is going to be able to keep your push much, much lower. The fifth thing is to make sure that after you play wide, you adjust accordingly. So if you play a wide angle push, you need to be able to watch the action of the opponent to see what type of loop they're giving you, whether they're giving you top of the bounce driving loop or waiting and playing heavier spin. See what type of shot they're giving you, and also reposition your body accordingly. So if you push off to the wide backhand, then adjust your position accordingly. If you push off to the wide forehand, then adjust your positioning accordingly. It's not that you know exactly where they're going, but you know where they're hitting from. That's an important distinction. We're talking about probabilities and indicators. Is just because you play to the wide backhand doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to hit exactly right there to the wide forehand. But we know direction of travel has to come this way. So when you push wide, adjust accordingly. Not just according to what type of shot is coming, but also according to the direction it's coming from. The sixth thing is, make sure that you follow up. So it's great to develop all these flip variations, all these push variations, all these variations, but these variations, you need to know how they're going to respond, how the opponent's going to respond, and how you need to follow up. That's why any new variation that you do, you should be implementing it months before the tournament as opposed to hours or days before the tournament. That variation might be effective, but what happens when they return it? Are you going to be able to respond accordingly? There's something called residual spin, and that is the type of spin that you give is going to affect the return. Let's use serves for an example. If I have my base serve is just light backspin, and I take a bunch of lessons the week of the tournament and I learn to get more spin on my serve, then guess what? You're also going to get more spin on the return. Even if the opponent gives you the same type of return, it's going to have more spin on it. If you don't believe me, then go to the table tennis club and give them a no spin serve and ask them to push and catch the ball. It'll have very little spin. And then give them a light serve and ask them to push. It'll have more spin. And give them a heavy serve and ask them to push, and it'll have even more spin. This is called residual spin. So all the variations are going to be effective if, this is a big if you yourself know how to handle those and you know what types of shots are going to come back. So being able to flip trickier or push spinnier or be able to push wider is great if you're used to those. So that's why these new variations, I'm recommending that you start implementing them months before your next major tournament as opposed to hours or days. The seventh thing is when you're playing backhand flip, it's really important to be able to come into the table, wait, let the ball drop, and then flip to a good location. It's important to be able to find the inside of the ball. Once you find the inside of the ball, you're able to flip to different locations. Same thing with forehand. With forehand flip, you again want to be able to find the inside of the ball so that your forehand flip is aiming down the line, and then you have the option to flip to the middle or flip cross. The ninth thing is don't forget about prioritizing the half long and long. Sometimes you watch a video course like this, maybe you become obsessed with short game training and you forget about all the other things and you just focus on short game training. Then what happens to all the other things? They go down. I did this when I was a teenager. I was about 16 or 17 years old. I didn't have a backhand loop and I was just running all over playing forehand. And I told myself, okay, I've hit a plateau. I need to work on my backhand loop. So I dedicated about a year and a half to backhand loop. But meanwhile, I neglected my forehand loop. And what do you think happened? Sure, my backhand got better. My forehand got worse and overall level didn't improve. So while you're practicing short game training, make sure you work on everything else. And the final thing is have fun. It's great to win matches. It's great to play matches at the club or at tournaments. But implementing new things is also quite fun. But it's difficult to implement new things if they never hit the table. So what I would recommend is get a Power Pong robot. Set it up for some simple drills like we've done in this course. Short backspin serve, maybe trajectory 20, maybe speed 10, spin -2, maybe -1, maybe add a little bit of side spin to it, and just practice getting repetitions on these unique variations with the robot. New things are fun, but it's even more enjoyable if they actually hit the table. Getting repetition with the Power Pong robot is one of the main stepping stones on how you're going to be able to have fun and start implementing new things in your game this year. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the bell. I'll see you soon.